It's allergy season. I'm here at the pharmacy. I'm going to help you to pick out the medicines that actually help your allergies, and I'm going to point out the ones that I want you to avoid and not buy. And I'm also going to show you how to buy the generics for cheaper as opposed to paying higher price for something that is no more effective than a cheaper medication. It's really confusing. Look at all of these pills. We've got Claritin, Allegra, Mucinex, NyQuil, Zicam. This stuff over here, this is the cold section. Theraflu, Dayquil, NyQuil, all of this stuff. These are viruses. This is viral rhinitis. This is not what you want for allergies. These are cold symptom stuff. So we want to get out of that. Once we see kind of the Benadryls, the Claritins, the Allegras, that's the allergy section that I want to focus on. Now, the things that you might know and be most familiar with are like Claritin and Allegra, right? They're very well branded and marketed. Right to it. We're going to look at the allergy section, and I want you to find the nose sprays. There's 3 kinds of sprays that are typically out here, and there's steroid nose sprays. These work the best. Budesonide, that's the generic name. Flonase is the brand name for fluticasone. Okay, you can see those green guys right here. And then there's Nasacort up there, right? Triamcinolone, and there's the generic. Those are the 3. When we back up, I want you to focus on those and get right to those nose sprays. You'll see right underneath, look at how seductive. Claritin, everybody knows that name. It's loratadine, Allegra, and right to the next over here is Zyrtec, Benadryl. Those pills are not very effective. I never prescribe them for allergies. They work about 10%. It's these nasal sprays up here, those are the most effective things. Look at them, right? Like, look at the prices. Like, people will pay for it. We know that it works, even though these may be more heavily branded. So, like this Claritin, right? Like, so many people are so familiar with that. That's like the #1 marketed, probably makes a lot of money. I don't think it works. I think it only works for about 10%. I never prescribe it. I don't even recommend it. I think it is a waste of your time. Same thing with Allegra, all of these non-sedating antihistamines. They just don't work very well for allergies. So what does work? When we're looking at this, I want to point something else. See how the generic is $13? That's $13. That's pretty good for Flonase. This is Walmart. $22, $13. There's a $39 for a double pack over there. $12.98, $10. Those are reasonable, but look at this. Let's go down to the bottom shelf here. What we have here, allergy relief with fluticasone for $3.32, and it says it lasts 24 hours. Look at that, 60 metered spray. So again, just to compare that, $3.32 for something that I think works, or if you want the brand name, you can pay, what is that, $3.32 to $13, so that's going to be 4 or 5 times the cost. I don't think that's worth it. $3.32 right here. It's so funny, but even as I sit here and explain this to you about what to buy and what to avoid, don't buy the Benadryls, the Zyrtecs, the Claritin, the Allegras. People hear me say that. I'm sitting here in the coat and everything, buy these sprays, and they also, but they can't stop but buying the big pharma, heavily marketed, want this name that they trust, even though it doesn't do shit for their allergies. It's incredible, the power of the marketing and the branding and everything. People still buy. There's one more thing I want you to know about which ones to avoid and be really careful with. And that's medicines like Afrin or neosynephrine that people use to open their nose. And what you might experience is, let me show you what down here on this lower one. See all these guys? This neosynephrine, Afrin. So the generic of that, where is it? Oxymetolazone, phenylephrine. So oxymetolazone and phenylephrine. You got to be really people that will use that only. And what happens is it does open it up right away, but then your nose gets hooked on it and it'll close down. It'll be even worse when you stop it. That's called rhinitis medicamentosa, where you get rhinitis medicamentosa, which is where your nose gets hooked on it, and in the short term actually makes symptoms worse. Now, the caveat, the one thing I will say is if you are using one of these nasal steroids that I recommended, it's okay just to use a pop or 2 of this Afrin or whatever, if you are using those nasal steroids at night so that you can breathe at night. And commonly that's what I'll do. There is another medicine that I couldn't find here that must be over the counter. It's a another nose spray, but we're going to leave that out of the conversation for now because this is what you can get at the pharmacy. So let's conclude. The two medicines that I would recommend would be a nasal steroid of any of those three kinds. This one happens to be fluticasone for about $7. And if you absolutely need to at night, so that you can need a little additional thing to open up and breathe, a little oxymetolazone can be okay as long as you're using that steroid, and as long as you don't use this too much so that your nose gets addicted to it. Look for generic meds because they're going to be just as effective as the brand names and save you a lot more money. The two of these together, about $10 at this pharmacy. Good luck this allergy season. I'll see you next time. This is still blowing my mind. I'm sitting here thinking about this. I was doing a video on which allergy medicines to choose and which ones don't work and which to avoid. And the number of people that heard me give my spiel, because I did it a couple times, and then and the spiel being Claritin, Allegra, Zyrtec are big pharma pills that don't work very well for allergies. They work a little bit, like 10 or 20%, but I've had so many people in the ER that come in on those meds and they're doing nothing for their nose. And these people here in Walmart would hear me say that and get a little like awkward, you know, like, and then they would pick Allegra, Claritin, Zyrtec anyway. Even though the doctor, I'm in the white coat. Look at this thing. I work at the hospital in this town. And I even told some of them, I was like, those don't work. Buy the nose spray. This girl bought the nose spray, but she totally still picked up Claritin, Allegra, and Zyrtec. And I'm just sitting here reflecting on the power of big pharma and marketing and branding and all of this stuff that, yeah, if it aligns with something that actually works is great. But in this case, it's just smoke and mirrors. It's great profit for a company and a stockholder, shareholder and all that stuff, but it doesn't do anything for people. It really does very little. I'm not impressed, but this is, so I'm just sitting here and I'm shocked. I can't believe it. Can you? Maybe, I mean, just how do you believe that certain things that you've seen work better than, you know, evidence, study, proven, whatever's. It's crazy, right? That effect and that influence. And anyway, I wanted to share. And yes, at Dunkin' Donuts, I had some milk and ate a donut.